Welcome back, everybody. This is episode 6 of This Is the Way. Today we're going to be covering chapter 6, which is titled Run the Race.
I don't feel like running any race right now, Austin.
I feel that. Just finished the holidays.
Yeah, I was going to say...
2-week break.
Yeah. Well, 1 week break for me, but it was just like...
Well, I mean, 2-week break from this.
Yeah, right. Oh, yeah, from the recording, right.
Yeah.
Yeah, week break from work for me, and it was just like, this is so nice, but I was also so busy. Visiting family, doing stuff at home, projects at home and stuff, and it was like, the week is over. I'm like, no, I don't want to go back to work.
Yeah.
I want to rest.
It be like that, though.
I want to rest.
It really do be like that. Yeah, this chapter, I'll be honest, I really didn't have many takeaways.
No,
at least not when I reviewed it.
No, it's one of those, like, we've gone over this concept before. This is kind of an old concept.
Yeah, I'll go through a couple of talking points just because. Yeah, did you have any real notes that you wanted to talk about before I rip through it?
No, I didn't have anything written down.
Okay. Yeah, so the author, he talks about, like the Christian life is more like a marathon than a sprint. And then he talks about 2 Timothy chapter 4, verses 7, where Paul says, I've fought the good fight, I've finished the race, and I've kept the faith. And then the author goes on to elaborate how, Paul, he wasn't a man who coasted through life. He was a man who kind of, he endured beatings, betrayal, imprisonment, rejection.
Paul went through a lot.
And still stayed faithful. And then the author goes on to say the race is long. And it's not really a sprint, but it's more of like a marathon.
Yeah.
And then he gets into 1 Corinthians chapter 9, verse 24, which says, Do you not know that in a race all the runners run, but only one gets the prize? Run in such a way as to get the prize. And then again, the author, he kind of elaborates underneath it where he says, like, run like it matters. And then half-hearted, distracted faith will not carry you through trials, and that we need to run with urgency, clarity, and conviction.
Yeah.
And then endurance is a fruit of discipline, and discipline is a byproduct of devotion. And I think that part actually is really important. Specifically that second point where he talks about, like, half-hearted faith really isn't going to carry you when times get tough.
No, it's
because if you're not all in and you go through, like, and by all in, I mean, like, you're not fully trusting in God and you start to go through, like, real hardship, then it's really easy to be like, God, how could you let this happen? It's really easy to kind of blame God rather than to depend on God.
Right.
And actually, you know what? No, I think it would be situational, because I've heard from a lot of people say where when they were in that place, that's where they found God. So
yeah, I think you're right. It is situational.
Yeah.
I think it depends on what you do in that situation, right? A lot of people, I think their initial reaction is to, like, when things get tough, is to kind of, like, buckle down and kind of get through it and, like, try to tough it out. If money is tight, then you just become more stringent with what you're spending your money on. Like, you just be more frugal. Also, realistically, you don't pray to God and ask God to help you through this tough season. And if you're going through, like, a loss or other kind of emotional or mental struggles, I think for guys, a lot of us, we just kind of, when it comes to maybe not grief, but emotions like that are tough, we kind of just swallow it. Like, hey, I don't have time to deal with this right now. Life is a little bit too demanding to be crying and being a little wuss like this.
And shove it in a corner.
Yeah, I need to kind of man up and keep my nose to the grindstone, and instead of going to God and talking to God about it and taking the time to heal and feel the emotions that whatever it may be that you're feeling.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's important that we learn to turn to God in our troubles. Because I'll be honest, for me, it wasn't natural to like depend on God. It didn't come naturally because I felt like I had to do everything by myself. It's like I have to get through this because really, it's kind of like how society is. It's like, be self-sufficient, which we've talked about before. So I would say that it's a learned behavior to depend on God for men, probably. I'm sure there's some women who are like, yeah, I'm self-sufficient too, but I think society puts a much higher pressure on men to be self-sustained. So for me, it was very much a learned behavior to be like, yeah, I need to rely on God. Like I had to learn it.
Yeah, and I when I think about it, I think like there are two types of men out there. There are going to be the men who turn to God in their moment of weakness when they're like, I can't do this by myself. I need help. And there are going to be the men who are like, no, they're gonna put their foot down and they're gonna go, and then when things all fall apart, they turn to God and go, why didn't it work? I put in so much effort. I tried to do everything. I couldn't do it all. Why didn't it work?
I'll be honest with you. I don't think it's two types of men, but I think it's two men in different levels of their relationship of closeness with God.
Maybe.
Just from experience. I've been in both situations.
Fair enough.
Like there's been when I was a younger Christian, it was I found it easier to get mad at God and be like, why are you letting this happen when all this stuff would go wrong? But then as I matured, it was more of like, you know what, God, like, thank you for protecting us through that.
Right.
And it's more easy now to just give it to God and be like, I know you're going to protect us. Like, I know you're going to provide for us. I think it would just be like different. If there's a word I'm trying to think of, but I can't think of it.
Scenarios, situations.
Different word. No, it's kind of like, I don't know, just different closeness, I guess, with God. I don't know. I know what I want to say, but I can't say it because it's not there.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Getting over a cold.
Not even. There'll be so many times we'll be like talking to somebody and be like, the thing. And they'll be like, what are you talking about? Like, I know what I'm trying to say. The word has escaped me.
And then like the next day at midnight, you're like, ah!
Yeah. Or I'll be thinking about something else and then the word will, and I'm like, that's the word I was thinking of like yesterday or like hours ago or whatever.
Yeah. But anyway, to dial it back to the book. The next topic that he talks about in chapter 6 is self-control builds staying power. And then he kind of goes into 1 Corinthians chapter 9, verses 25 to 27. Sorry. Yeah. 25 to 27, which I will not read because it looks very lengthy. But essentially, he goes on to elaborate afterwards where he says elite runners train when it's raining, when they're tired, and when motivation is low. And then he goes on to say, like, faith is similar, where it's kind of like your true faith is really reflected on your low points when nobody's watching.
Yeah.
Like if nobody's watching and you're hurting, are you just gonna default to old habits?
Yeah, that's a good point to make. I think could be good. Like I know for me right now, I'm kind of going through like a spiritual like lack of motivation. I'm going through a spiritual low where I'm like, I'm tired. I don't want to do this, and I don't want to. I get to work and I do whatever, and then I finally have time to like catch my breath. I'm like, I really don't want to pray. I really don't want to read the Bible. I just want to just chill.
Yeah, that was me for a while, actually. Like a few months. And then I don't know, it just kind of like switched. It was just like ding. I'm going to read the Bible. I'm going to start worshiping.
I find that's how it goes with me. Like I go through like periods where I'm like I have no motivation and I don't want to do what I know I should do, and then after a certain period of time, I just kind of like snap out of it and go right back to it. No, it's weird. I don't know what that's all about.
I know one trend that I've noticed is when I get into that like lazy, unmotivated state, I find that the more I intentionally think about the things that I'm grateful for, I find it easier to get back into the flow for me. So actually, one thing that we've started doing relatively recently, probably like 2 months now, is whenever we say grace, which is every time we eat, I go around the table and I ask, Arya, what are you thankful for? Jacob, what are you thankful for? And then my wife, what are you thankful for? And then I'll incorporate everything that they're thankful for into the prayer for grace.
Mm-hmm.
So I find it helps me stay focused on being grateful for things and
Right.
then seeing what everybody else is grateful for as well. And yeah, so after he talks about the faith being similar to elite runners, he goes into finish well, not fast. And then he talks about 2 Timothy chapter 4, verse 8, which says, now there is in store for me the crown of righteousness, which the Lord, the righteous judge, will award to me on that day. And not only to me, but also to all who have longed for his appearing. And then that's the end of the chapter.
Pretty much, yeah.
It goes right into the questions. Okay.
Yeah, this was a pretty short chapter.
Yeah.
And again, I feel like the whole like faith is a marathon, not a sprint, is a theme that's talked about a lot.
Heavily covered topic.
Yeah.
Heavily covered.
I don't know if it's because it's easy to cover because it's clearly defined, or if it's just something that people really like to emphasize.
Yeah.
But, like when it was emphasized in Disciplines of a Godly Man, I'm not sure if it was just if it went over it in the last book.
Yeah, and I'm not I'll be honest, I'm not sure if I'm sold on the race analogy.
Like I understand why Paul did it because they were in Greece and the Olympics was a big part of the culture, and he was writing to Greeks.
Yeah.
So that was a big part of their culture. So I understand why, but I'm not a racer. I don't run races.
I'm not an athlete at all.
Not at all. Not for me. So like, yeah, I get it. I understand why the analogy is there, and I understand how it applies to us, but it doesn't really like sit well with me as like this is a good analogy for me personally.
Yeah. Yeah, because I was trying to think of because I was thinking about it today, and I'm like, well, like in my mind, and I'm like the way that my mind works is I take everything far more literally than I should probably. But when you think about like a race, and if you say that like everybody's running the race, it kind of implies we're all running on the same track.
Yeah, and especially if you're running a race and you're trying to get a prize, that means you have to win. So it's not a good analogy for that, for the purpose of like, you just want to run well and you just want to finish because that's what you need to do. You just need to finish. It's just like, that reminds me of like kindergarten and being like, everybody has to run around the school. And then when you win, and the people, and then, first, second, third get a ribbon and everyone else gets a participation ribbon. It's kind of like, oh, let's try to put all this effort in for this.
I was trying to think of like a different way to put it. I don't know. I'll run it by you and you can tell me if I'm way off or if it makes sense to you.
Okay.
So what I was thinking of is rather than like an endurance race, I was thinking of it as like when you enter, like when you allow Jesus into your heart, it's kind of like you join like a huge project team that's preparing for the kingdom. And you have people that are assigned to different tasks. So some people are called to prepare the land. Some people are called to build. Some people are called to support. Some people are called to lead. Some people are called to war. And so we're all leading for the same goal. We don't know when the kingdom's coming, but we know it's coming soon. So there's urgency. And the resources required to support may not be the same resources required to build. And the resources required to build may not be the same resources required to clear the land. Right?
Right.
So that's kind of where my mind went with it. But I don't know, maybe I overcomplicated it for an analogy.
No, I think that makes I think that makes sense. That makes sense to me, the way you're talking about it, right? Because everybody has a different race, everybody has a different role.
Mm-hmm.
So not everybody's going to be getting, like you said, the same supplies or the same. They're not doing the same thing as everybody else. Everybody's path is different. Everybody's walk with God is going to be different.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that not it doesn't. I think it makes it a little bit more complicated. Diversifies it a little bit more from just a race.
Yeah, no, for sure.
So I think it's pretty well said.
Well, thanks. I appreciate it. But I don't know. I was just like thinking about it. I'm like,
Yeah, I don't know what I would like just off the top of my head. I don't know what I would do for an analogy personally.
Yeah, because like you, like I understand why Paul wrote it in the Bible, but I think to relate some of those things to now, like a race specifically, I don't know. I think my mind is just far too literal and logical, and like being in software and having to think of like, what about this scenario? What about this? What about this? Like to me, it wasn't enough.
Yeah, I mean, like if we were to take the race scenario and bring it to the modern world, it would just be the marathon. Like, cause like I know that there are
Like
people
a triathlon,
or maybe no, I don't know about a triathlon, but like like people do marathons for fun now, right? Not as a competition, but just to prove that they can.
Mm-hmm.
That would be the only thing that I would take that analogy and bring it into modern day would be it's like a modern day marathon.
Mm-hmm.
No one's doing it to win; they're just doing it to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Right? They're doing it to prove something to themselves.
Yeah.
Some people have a personal goal; they want to beat their a certain time, or some people want to be first or whatever within the top 10. But a lot of people, like Mr. Oxer was saying, he wanted to do it to prove that he could do it, right? And then when he got to the point where he was ready to give up, he was like, no, this is what I'm doing this because this is my reason why, and he pushed forward and he did it.
Yeah.
So ultimately, I think that's what we can modernize, like how we can modernize the running the race that Paul was talking about. Is we just talk about modern marathons.
Yeah. I don't know. Again, I'm not an athlete.
No, me neither.
Like again, for me, like even the marathon, like you're still implying that everybody's running the same track. But again, my mind just goes too too literal, I guess. What about the edge cases, Caleb? What about the edge cases?
I get it, but I understand. Like I'm just like if I was to bring the modern to bring Paul's racing analogy into modern times, that's the only thing I could think of.
Well, I mean, what about like a baton race? But even maybe like working on a team, passing the baton.
Yeah, I could see that in terms of like leadership and leadership in the church. I would say that would be a good analogy for that, because like when you're like my time here is over, or like you
prepare the next generation.
You prepare the next generation, you disciple the next young leader to take over for you, and then when it's your time to go with the Lord, then he takes over when you're gone.
Yeah.
So yeah, that works for that. But there's your building the kingdom analogy, I think, works better than the racing analogy in terms of everybody has a different purpose and everybody has a different goal, right? Or no, we all have one goal, but everybody has a different job.
Everyone's got a different role.
Yeah.
And it doesn't look like I wrote down very many of the questions. I think I only wrote down 4 of them, and I don't remember which part of the book they were in. So I'll just read them and see if you have any answers.
Yeah, I didn't answer any questions this time around. I was just reading them and I was just like, I don't really have anything to say for this.
Yeah, we'll see.
Okay. Wing it, I guess.
We'll wing it. I mean, more authentic that way. First question: when was the last time your faith felt more like a sprint rather than a marathon?
Yeah, I don't even know how. Like, I don't understand the the meaning of that question. Because I read that and I was like, what do you mean?
Mm-hmm. I guess if I were to interpret it, would it be like, I prayed for a week, now I'm done.
Like, yes. Oh, like putting in a whole bunch of effort because you need something, or
And
you
then
feel,
stopping.
and then stopping when you're. Yeah, I guess I could see that. I don't know. It's been a while since I've gone through emotion like that where it was like, I really need this. I really need the last time that I really think that really comes to my mind is when I was getting my passport, because there was a tight deadline for when I needed my passport and when I was going to be getting on my flight to leave the country,
Mm-hmm.
because I had put in my request for my passport like months and months prior, but it was taking such a long time to get it. And I remember being like, "There's only a couple of weeks left. Like, Lord, I really like. Can I get my passport back, please? I still like. I need to send it here for a visa. Like, I'm not. Please." And that was a few years ago. I don't think I haven't had too many moments besides that come to my like that. I can't remember anything
Mhm.
besides that, but I'm sure I've had other moments besides that were I was praying intensely for a few days or a week or whatever.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think for me it was when I went through that, was it 6 week, 7 week intense period would be the last time for me.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not really that like I wound it down and like completely stopped. It's just that it just hasn't been that intense in a while.
Right.
Um, like I've even tried like fasting since then a couple of times to be like, how do I get back to that? Because that was awesome. But I guess we'll see.
Yeah. I don't have any suggestions for you. Sorry, man.
The next question was, what walks? Oh, sorry, no. What walls have you hit lately? What helped or hindered you from pressing through?
Yeah, I didn't really have an answer for that one either, personally. Not that I'm not going through difficulties in my spiritual walk. I can't think of any off the top of my head.
Hmm.
Nothing specific.
Well, I mean, speaking in tongues would be a wall.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess so.
Or what was the other one that you? Sensing the presence of the Holy Spirit, I believe, was another one
Mm-hmm.
that you were struggling with.
Right. Yeah. Right. Yeah. I didn't think of those. Didn't even. I was just thinking. I was like, well, like I don't know if
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't think of anything. So yeah, those are two good examples. Yes.
Things to pray about.
Mm-hmm.
For me, for walls, I don't know. I think I broke through a couple of them. Recently, even where I was just kind of like, I don't know, like you, unmotivated, and then decided, you know what? Nah, I'm gonna worship. I'm gonna pray. I'm gonna make an effort to do that daily.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, so that was pretty recent, and it was just kind of like a 2 week stint, I guess, because I was super excited for the racing stuff that I ordered.
Okay.
So I was super distracted, which goes well for the videos that released earlier this week of like anything that distracts you from God, it's gotta go.
Yeah.
So I found that kind of ironic. So I took my own advice. And then the next question was, who do you know that has finished well, and what can you learn from their example?
When I hear finishing well, I assume they mean dead.
So did I.
I was like, who do you know who finished well? I was like, I don't have any good examples in
neither do
any of
I.
my relatives or friends that passed away lately.
Mm,
I don't have any old acquaintances that I was particularly close with or anything. I didn't have anything for that question. I just assumed it meant they
yeah.
had passed away. I was like, nope, nobody
Neither
comes
did
to
I,
mind.
really. Yeah, for me, like all the passings in the family has been like either they didn't or they did on the bed.
Right.
Except Jesus. So it's like,
That was a short sprint there, buddy.
yeah. Yeah. The last question that I wrote down was what practices are helping you to stay the course in this season and what is missing?
Motivation is missing. Motivation is missing. But I'm still making myself pray every day and read the Bible every day.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't really have an answer for that one either. Nothing's really coming to mind. I'm feeling just kind of brain dead right now, to be honest. You're asking me questions, and it's just like no cogs are turning. Nothing is going on up here, upstairs. I'm not mentally checked out right now.
Can smell the wheels turning.
They're out of oil. I need to be lubricated.
Yeah. No, for me, I think I don't know. For things helping me stay the course is just like I said, worshiping and praying, making the effort to do it on a daily basis. I find worshiping really helps kind of set my mindset into being grateful,
Right.
and makes me want to spend more time with the Lord. As far as what's missing, I mean, I don't know. I was thinking even just today of like God has blessed us with like everything.
Mm-hmm.
So like we're lacking nothing. But as far as what's missing for me to help me stay the course, I'm not sure.
Yeah, I think for me, what would be missing would just be self-discipline to like, not just like I don't know, going through right now at my work, things are changed. I've changed a bit again, so like I've like without getting too deep into it, I went back to a different position at work, and that position allows me a lot more. It's a little bit busier in terms of having more things to do, but then there's also a lot of like when you're caught up, there's quite a bit of downtime. So then I find myself being like really distracted on my phone and just like scrolling or whatever, and then I find that's just kind of eating up my motivation to do stuff, right? Because it's like put my phone down, I go back to work. I'm like, I don't want to be here. I want to go home. I'm done, man. It's 2:00. Let's just go home. But anyway, I think self-discipline to put the phone down and is something I need to practice. Self-discipline for that and other.
You can always set a time limit.
For certain media apps, yeah. Yeah. I know. I have for Instagram. I have 15-minute time limit, and it's just like, hey, you're at 15 minutes. I'm like, yep, that's time to stop now. I know. Like I've just been so bad with social media this week since I went back to that other position. So much downtime. So it's like, well, I have nothing to do for next number of minutes. So, so I know I really gotta practice some self-discipline and some self-control.
Yeah, I mean, self-discipline, I think, is just an area that always needs improvement.
You might be right.
It's kind of like I don't know, it's like a flow. It's like sometimes you do really well, sometimes you don't, like it's a never-ending thing.
Yeah, it'll definitely be a never-ending thing for me anyway. I'll always be like, yeah, I'm doing really well. Like I can afford to like take a break every now and then, and then just a downhill spiral after that. And then an uphill battle. And then I'm okay. And then anyway, that's my theory on how it'll work with me. That's how I'm guessing it will go. It'll be like, I'm doing well. I can take, it's Saturday. I can take a break, and then Monday, and then Sunday comes, and I'm like spiraling back down to where I was.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'll spend all week getting back to where I wanted to be, and then, yeah. Anyway,
I think that's all for this week, though.
that's it for me.
And that's it for me. So you can join us next week, and we'll talk about Chapter 7, and This is the Way by Mark Oxer, and the chapter is called Suit Up. We'll see you there.